Hey guys, what is up? It's MJ and I'm back with another video. And now today we're doing something that we did last month, which was our monthly wrap up, where I talk about everything that I watched and read in February for this month. Just to get it out of the way, if you did watch last month's wrap up, I did say that I was going to watch Death Note. I was going to finish it. That's what I said. Apparently I lied because I still haven't finished Death Note. In fact, I'm on the exact same episode that I was on last month when I said I was going to finish it. Because I don't know why. I haven't actually watched TV shows aside from WandaVision this month. And that includes anime. Like I haven't watched any anime or anything. Did however watch 5 movies and I read 1 book this month. So we are just going to go in chronological order. I'm just gonna, give a little basis of what the thing is about and what I thought of it, like any glaring issues that I may have had with the things, and then just the general, do I recommend it or do I not recommend it? That is going to be the basis of this video. And there's also going to be an announcement at the end. If you've watched my bullet journal video, my March setup bullet journal video, you would have heard about my little announcement, and there will be more on that at the end of this video. But for now, let's get into the things that I watched and read in It's not January. Let's get into the things that I consumed in February. I think I have not watched a movie in the second half of February, like at all. I haven't done anything in the second half of February, which is ridiculous. But we're gonna start with the first thing that I watched in February, and that was Malcolm and Marie, which is I do believe it's the latest Zendaya movie that's been released. It stars Zendaya and John David Washington. It's directed by Sam Levinson, I think. The same dude who directed Euphoria. And did he direct Euphoria or did he write it? I think he did both. I'll put it on the screen if I was wrong about any of that information. But I did watch that movie at the very start of the month. And like it wasn't a terrible movie. Like I did enjoy is not quite the right word for it. I was fully invested in it, that's for sure, because I guess I didn't know anything about Malcolm and Marie when I was going into it. Like I literally all I knew is, oh, it's got Zendaya in it. Okay, cool. I might check that out when it came out, and then I checked it out like the day after it came out on Netflix, and it was a very interesting movie because there are only 2 actual characters that we see on screen in the entire movie, and it's very much like there's no particular plot, I would say. Like there's no like, okay, so we start from point A to point B, where we start point A over here and this is what happens, and then we do X, Y, and Z, and then we get to point B. It was very much character movie in that it kind of just, not even just felt, it was basically just us watching 2 people who were in a relationship argue for however long the runtime of that movie was. It was very well acted, because of course it was. Like it was very well acted. The script at times felt a little, I don't know what it is. It felt kind of off. There were a lot of like monologue-esque parts of the movie, and while I don't hate monologues in media, I feel like because there was only 2 characters, it felt very much like it was either going back and forth, or it was one character is it soliloquying? It's either soliloquying or monologuing, whilst the other one is basically reacting to it. And it's just, they had a very contentious relationship. We literally just watched them continuously like be arguing or kind of be giving each other the silent treatment, and then we slowly start to learn more about the characters. But I feel like there was another way that that could have been done without it just being like a back and forth argument where they would like it would start the argument and then they'd stop the argument and then they'd like do like they'd make out or something, or they'd be getting into the business and then all of a sudden they would start arguing again. It was like, why? That's kind of my whole feeling on Malcolm and Marie. It felt very much of a, why are we doing this? Why is this what we're watching right now? Like, I don't know. It felt, it isn't a movie that I would recommend if you just wanted to like have a chill evening, because it's not a chill movie. There are quite a few things that get brought up in it. Possible trigger warnings such as attempted suicide and drug misuse, and there were just a lot of things where this, I feel like you'd have to do like at least a brief amount of research to see if you would be able to handle it. And I feel like going into this with no idea what is gonna happen is not the way to go for this movie. I would give it a 6.5 out of 10, purely because there was no specific narrative that I was kind of intrigued into. I was more watching it literally because I was just here like, I don't know what on earth is going on right now, but I'm gonna watch it, I guess, because someone explain to me, please, what is happening. That's kind of how I felt throughout the movie. The next movie that I watched in February was The Devil All the Time, which is a movie that came out last year, and it stars Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson is in it, Bill Skarsgård's in it, Harry Melling's in it, Sebastian Stan's in it. Apparently Chris Evans is in it, and I do not remember seeing him in the movie, but apparently I'm wrong on that one. I would give this a 7 out of 10. It was another one of those movies where I wasn't quite sure what was going on a lot of the time. Especially at the start of the movie, I wasn't quite sure what was happening, because the story has a lot of flashback scenes in it where you kind of see how things are, and then you see how things were before, and then that's a very interesting narrative device to use. For me personally, I just get kind of confused a lot of the times, especially because there was like a whole cast of characters that kind of would like turn up and then disappear for a while and then would come back later, and it'd be like, oh, I actually forgot you were in here. Okay. I feel like I didn't get a lot of character, like full like character motivations or character arcs where I was kind of like could see the trajectory. I didn't quite know what each character wanted in the movie and what they were trying to achieve. And I'm a very character driven person when it comes to like my movies and my books and my TV shows. Like, I really like characters that I can sort of either relate to or want characters to root for or to root against. I like to have a strong understanding of a character. So with such a lot of different characters that kind of turn up and disappear, it was very, it wasn't like completely hard to get it for me to get into, but it did take a while, and I still don't quite know how I feel about the ending of this movie. There wasn't, I don't think there would have been any like payoff that I would have been like, oh yeah, that's how this movie should end. I just didn't quite know what to do with it after. But again, it was a well acted film, everyone was really good in it, and even like I don't think there was any that many specific characters to root for in the movie, but in terms of like characters who were purposely meant to be unlikable. They did a really good job of making sure the characters were despicable in a way that I was kind of just like, anytime they're on screen, I was just like, oh, okay, uh, you're here, great. The next thing that I watched was the To All the Boys series. I rewatched the first movie and then I watched the second and third movie for the first time because the third movie came out on the 12th of February. I would give the first To All the Boys an 8 out of 10. I'd give the second one a 7 out of 10, and I would give the third one a 7.5 out of 10. I I really did like rewatching the first To All the Boys I Loved Before movie because I hadn't watched it since it came out in 2018. And it was nice to be able to go back to the movie and be like, oh, okay, this is how I feel about it now. Because I'm not the biggest romance rom-com movie lover, but I do enjoy a kind of coming of age story. I like YA books, I like YA movies. I like to see characters kind of grow, and that is why I can't give To All the Boys I Loved Before a higher than an 8. For me personally, I feel as if they could have fleshed out Peter's character a lot more, and I feel like his character development kind of got left to the wayside, especially in the second movie, where he was kind of just, he felt like a one, just like a, I'm like this and this is all I do and I'm gonna be annoying. And considering the fact that in the first two movies we have love triangles, it kind of felt like, oh, okay, well, why is she with Peter if there is clearly a better candidate for someone to have a relationship with, John Ambrose McLaren? But I feel like if they had developed his character a bit more in the first two movies, in the first movie he had okay character, like he had an okay character, but if they had developed it a bit more in the second movie, it would have felt like some of the things that his, like, that end up coming up in the third movie, it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere because it was just like, oh, okay, remember this thing that happened in the first movie that we didn't really mention too much in the second movie apart from like one time? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that again. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I just about remembered about this particular character point, but sure, I guess we're gonna run with it. Again, To All the Boys I've Loved Before is like, it's a typical kind of fake dating to relationship. I've read enough fan fiction to know where we're gonna be fake boyfriend and girlfriend goes. It's predictable, but it's also the kind of predictable where it's just like, oh, okay, like I know what's happening, but also like that is kind of adorable. And I may or may not have had tears in my eyes in the third movie, but we're not going to talk about that. To All the Boys I Loved Before. It was a cute series. Did it like go out of like the way to did it change the rom-com like teen romance genre? No, not really. Like, I've read similar concepts with fan fiction and stuff, and whether or not the fan fiction came first or whether or not this story came first, I don't know. I haven't read the book, so I don't have any standpoint in terms of like, is it a good book to movie adaptation? I'm not sure because I haven't read them. I will eventually read them and I might do a video on that later on down in this year. But I did really enjoy this series, and it was nice to see that it was like completed. And I feel like for the most part it wrapped up in like a nice little bow. There were a few things where I wish they had shown the between movies 2 and movies 3, like some of the character development, because for Jen's character, her character development happened off screen, and so I wish they had kind of fleshed out some of the side characters a bit more in the second and third movie. but it is very much a this is Lara Jean's story kind of thing. So it does make sense why they didn't focus too much on the other side characters. I just wish they had, you know, shined a little more light on them rather than letting them feel as if they're kind of one dimensional. Like, I feel like the side characters kind of had like their one personality trait. And even Peter, to some extent, kind of just had like maybe two personality traits or things, but I feel like there could have been a way to develop the other characters a lot more that they didn't do. But for what it is, I still did really enjoy it. And it was just a nice little, it was a nice day to just kind of chill and watch those movies. So, yeah. We're coming to near the end of this video, and so now I'm going to talk about the only book that I read this month. I need to read more. But the book that I read this month was Scarlet, which is the sequel to Cinder by Marissa Meyer. And I'd give this book an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy where this book went in terms of a continuation of the first book. I feel as though they kind of, the juggling of character POVs got a little more hectic in the sequel because it was juggling characters from the first book as well as also trying to develop new characters, and so I feel like it didn't handle it, like it handled it fairly well, but I feel like there should have been like one new character and one old character to focus on. That way it would have felt a bit more cohesive, because I feel like we got one too many character views than we needed. And I also like the way that we've developed the world a bit. We got to see some other parts of this kind of dystopian future. I do love me some dystopian YA, honestly. I mean, I was really into Maze Runner, and I liked The Hunger Games, and Divergent was okay. So I'm really looking forward to spending more time in this little world and getting to see where the future goes, because we left on a little bit of a cliffhanger. And again, I'm not sure. I feel like the next book will do the same juggling of new characters and old characters. I just hope that even if it is juggling like a couple more characters, like maybe 4 characters, I just want it to be able to cohesively do it in a way that it makes sense as to which different group of people that we're with, and just really displaying character points and development, because I feel like that was for some of the side characters, I feel like we didn't get enough of that from them. We've gotten through the wrap up part of this video, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about my announcement of the podcast. Well, I mentioned to my friend a little bit ago that I was thinking, like, I wanted to make a podcast, and I asked them if they wanted to join, and they said yes, which was great. I love that, because I've been thinking of doing a podcast for like a month or so now, and I feel like it just, at least for me, I feel like it would work better if I had someone to bounce off of, because otherwise it would just be like I could just do a video. But this way I kind of get to bounce ideas off of them. How the podcast is going to be coming out is we're going to live stream on Twitch on Friday. That's going to be our first episode. It's going to be live streamed on Twitch. And then I'm going to edit the podcast, and then it will be up on all social, on all, anywhere you get your podcast, I do believe. So Spotify, will be on Apple Podcast. I need to double check where some of these are, so I will put where they will all be. I'll put where the podcast will be up on screen right now so you can see. The podcast is called Story of Tonight, and it is a movie and book talk podcast. I'm really excited to let you guys know. You can follow the Twitch, and there will be a link in the description, and I will also put the name of the Twitch on screen. And you can also follow the podcast on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. And you can follow the podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, which will be up on screen either as story_of_tonight or story_of_tonight podcast. I'll put the podcast trailer right here.
Hello!
We are Story of Tonight.
We are two idiots, MJ and Helen, who talk about movies, books, and other things.
If you're interested in movies, books, or want to listen to us ramble about things,
feel free to join us on March 5th
at 6:30 p.m. GMT on Twitch. Listen along as two teens quip at each other whilst talking about movies such as Rocky and Whiplash, and books such as Twilight, The Hunger Games, and more. Follow us on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. But until Friday, bye. So that is it for my announcement. But that will also be the end of this video. If you like this video, leave a like, comment down below what movies or books that you watched and read this month. I'd really like to know. If you enjoy my content, you can subscribe to my channel and you can hit the notification bell to get notified every time I upload a video, which should be on Thursdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. GMT. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Now I have a TikTok, which will all be in the description down below. You can watch my January wrap-up video by clicking over here. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking over here. But until next time, guys, bye!